Hello everyone, I'm Evan Van Zelfden. I'm the editor of Interactive Age, and I came from Austin, Texas to get here, which is it's a pretty far trip, but I'm always happy to be here. And I wanted to tell you a little about the magazine. It's a print-only, twice-a-year peer journal about the game industry. So it's sort of a very specific thing, but it's also a nice supplement to technical or developmental education. So I'm going to be around for the next several days, and if any of you have any questions about the business or how it works or the future, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation. And I think that students here are incredibly lucky because the business is changing completely. And there are certainly challenges and risks, but there are some also amazing opportunities. I mean, this is, the days of opportunities are probably better than when id Software started or people were first doing shareware or the Atari game. So your ability to succeed is nearly unlimited. And I also wanted to thank Tom, his excellent staff, for inviting me. Next speaker. Unless there are any questions, I can also take questions now. Anything? Do any of you actually care about the business? Okay, yes, Susan.
So, why did you start Interactive Age? Is there something missing in the industry?
Well, there was no place for a serious discourse about the business. And also, there was nothing that people in the game industry could read on airplanes. I mean, we have websites and you can read them at your desk, but when you're on the plane, what are you going to read, The Economist?
You've got very high production values. And it's a very classy looking piece of work. But, newspapers are dying.
Yes.
Books are now being called true books.
Right.
Because e-books are becoming big.
Right.
What's your business model? How can you survive? Why are you here?
Well, that's an incredibly long discussion of the media. But basically, if you look at a newspaper like USA Today, no one really wants to pay to read it, so they have to give it away free, and then it has to be ad supported. And if there's something that has charter subscribers who say, I'm willing to pay for you to make this, then you no longer need advertising. So it's sort of a different model. And you'll see that with academic journals, that there might be some topic that only 10,000 people in the world care about, but they'll pay, however much the subscription is, because that's their field of expertise or their passion point. So I think in the media in the future we'll see things that are more and more expensive and go out to fewer and fewer people. I mean, in that sense, the age of mass media supported by advertising is just over. Yes, Don.
Yeah. What are you planning in your next edition of Interactive Age?
So the next issue should come out sometime in the fall. It's called The Changes Issue, and it's going to be packed with look at how the game industry is changing, whether it's the business or the demographics or distribution. So it'll have essays from executives, case studies, roundtables, that sort of thing. Anyone else?
Who writes your stories? Are you writing it all? Do you have strangers out in the world, or how does it?
No, they're actually written by the executives in the industry. So, in the first issue on globalization, the head of Square Enix wrote about the decline of the Japanese market. And in that case, I figured that the largest software publisher in Japan was probably pretty qualified to know about his market. And there was the head of Western publishing for EA talked about censorship in Germany, and then also the effect that has from a publishing viewpoint, that you have to substantially republish those games. I don't know. So the idea is that an executive will have a very specific viewpoint, a very strong opinion, and whether the reader ultimately decides to agree or disagree, that's going to be much more interesting than a journalist interviewing 2 or 3 people.
So you have various kind of aspects of one idea or one trend or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can get a fairly good sense of how you feel about the topic as well. But the authors are always encouraged to use as much data, as many facts and figures as they can.
So if we write about the industry in Sweden, would you publish that?
Well, yes, there's a what's the association here that parrot heads? Yes. So there's actually a piece about the court case.
Okay.
There, I believe it was 2005, 2000. And so that's a very interesting look, because in the United States we're currently having our Supreme Court review games and see if they should be restricted and see if they're too violent and all of that. And so this is an interesting look at a previous legal battle that turned out well for the game industry in the end. Anyone else?
One last question. I mean, the reason I like the magazine is it really cuts to core issues or things that are really involved in the industry or their concerns, not anything at all. But how do you keep your contacts, and how do you plan on keeping up to date?
So the best way to keep up to date is to go to conferences, have conversations in the hall, and whenever somebody says something really interesting, ask them to write a piece about it. And so I'm sure that's going to happen this week. And last week I was at another event, and someone was talking about the importance of politics and how you frame something. He was talking about calling serious games applied gaming, and he thought that was a much more powerful way to put it. And I think that's starting to take off in Europe. In the US, we still call them serious games, and it just does not sound good. So he's going to write down a little glossary entry of why that's a better term. It has a cover price of $24 US, but it's only twice a year. Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much.